Hey everyone, it's me Terra, and today I wanted to talk about Second Life. Specifically, can Second Life survive another decade? Personally, I'm starting to think that it might not be able to. Now, make no mistake, Second Life won't just disappear overnight as if it got Thanos snapped. But I don't see it surviving another decade. If you haven't heard of Second Life before, check out this video right here, because it'll probably be very helpful. With that out of the way, let's talk about why. Starting from the very tutorial, new players get lost almost immediately. It's a very big barrier towards the growth of Second Life. The tutorial barely teaches you anything, and that might sound like a very small thing that doesn't matter that much, but it's actually very critical because the learning curve is very steep with Second Life. This is probably one of the biggest complaints, maybe number one complaint of new users. Unlike most modern games, Second Life expects users to figure many things out on their own, which unfortunately, this isn't the early 2000s anymore. Many new users will quit before they learn the basics. Modern games will teach you what you can do, what the goal of what you're playing is, and it gives you reasons to stay. Second Life will teach you how to walk, maybe how to move a camera, and that's about it. Now, when it comes to avatar creation, if you've watched my previous Second Life related video, you may remember me saying that Second Life is much easier in terms of creating an avatar and customizing it than Second Life. The main reason for that was because at the time of me making that video, VRChat did not have a buy an avatar option. As a result, you had to go to Unity and learn how to use Unity, which can be extremely difficult for new users. But that's not a thing anymore. In VRChat, you can buy avatars, complete avatars, just like in Second Life. So Second Life has lost that bit of charm to it as well now. After the tutorial ends, new users essentially get dropped into a giant virtual world and, well, go exist now is what they're basically told. Everything meaningful in Second Life comes from socializing, role-playing communities, creating content, exploring events, starting businesses, and so on. And the tutorial explains almost none of this, so a new user's first experience will often look like logging in, wandering around, getting very confused as to what the hell the goal is, and then logging out. And many of them will never come back. What worsens this problem is that Second Life, although not empty, is filled with dead worlds. Way too many of them. Again, Second Life isn't empty, there are thousands of communities and events. But they're hiding behind social networks, Discord groups, private regions, and community knowledge. It's like you're being dropped into a giant city without a map and without a phone. So the only thing you have to go off of is just word of mouth. And the chat usually is just as dead as the voice chat is, sometimes even more so. So unless you already know someone inside of the world, it's very easy to feel like there is simply nothing out there. And when new users leave this quickly, the population simply cannot grow. This also brings me to the aging population problem. Second Life is over 20 years old, and many of the people who joined in the 2000s never left. Instead of new generations replacing the older ones, the community has largely aged altogether. That means today, the world includes long-term friendships, businesses running for decades, even memorial spaces for users whom have passed away IRL. As a result, it's not just a game anymore, it's a long-running digital society of sorts. Younger users, however, will almost always compare the game to VRChat, Roblox, and modern MMOs. And they're not necessarily wrong with that. Many of them will bounce off very quickly regardless though. The internet changed, yes, but Second Life's culture stayed rooted in a very old era that just refuses to change. So when I say the game's population is dying, I don't mean that in the sense that, oh, there's not enough players coming in, which is also true, but that's not what I mean by it. I mean that in a very literal sense. There are so many people that have literally died of old age because, well, that's just the end of their natural lifespan. And as a result, the game and its population is very literally dying. And unfortunately, Second Life is pretty much trapped by its own community and dev team as well. Here's where things get rather tricky. Second Life still has a very loyal and passionate user base, but that loyalty creates a paradox. Many residents have invested thousands in virtual land, They've built businesses, communities, identities, and entire lives inside of this world. So if the developers were to make a massive change to modernize the platform in order to keep it alive and growing, well, the long-time users could lose what they built. But if the developers don't change it, then new users simply will not come. And when they do, they're not going to stick around long enough to keep the game alive. This is basically the legacy platform trap. You change too much, you lose existing users. You change too little, you lose the future. And all of these problems feed into each other. Expensive land, fewer new creators. Fewer creators, less new content. Less content, fewer new users. Fewer new users, aging population. It becomes a very slow feedback loop. So it's not a sudden collapse, but it's just a slow squeeze. This also brings me to why you rarely see Second Life on YouTube. This is another very big issue that most people don't tend to think about. Creating YouTube content inside Second Life is incredibly difficult, and the reason is very simple. You can't reliably film in public spaces. Now here's why. Second Life is a fully user-generated world. That means when you walk into a public region, you have no control over what happens on screen. This is both good and bad. The bad side of this is that adult content is extremely common across the platform, unreasonably so. And sometimes it straight up borders on illegality. For obvious reasons, I can't show you the actual image, but here are some heavily censored things to give you an idea of how fucking bad it gets. Even in places that aren't explicitly adult, you can still very easily encounter explicit avatars, explicit animations, billboards or ads, and mature roleplay happening right in front of you. If you're recording a video, this creates a very massive problem, because if even a few seconds of explicit content appear in your footage, your YouTube video can be immediately just nuked out of orbit. And as such, creators face a weird situation. Either film in private regions that you have full control over, which gets very boring very quickly, or risk the entirety of your channel. Also, private regions cost money. Meanwhile, on modern platforms like VRChat, creators can build safe filming worlds for free, control exactly what happens on camera, and collaborate easily with other creators. This has a huge ripple effect. It means fewer YouTubers cover Second Life, less exposure for the platform, and fewer new users discovering it. And in today's internet, YouTube visibility is pretty much survival for many games. If creators can't safely film your platform will struggle to grow. And streaming in Second Life is pretty much off limits for the same reason. If I remember correctly, on Twitch, you straight up cannot stream Second Life. Second Life isn't just hard to modernize, it's hard to promote, hard to film, and even risky to livestream. And as you can imagine, that severely impacts potential growth. Part 2. The technology problem. Here's the blunt truth. Second Life still runs on early 2000s technology. That means lags, crashes, long loading times, poor performance, even on some of the strongest PCs that are currently at the market. Even those can see some serious performance drops. Crowded areas can struggle to function. New users coming from modern games expect very smoother experiences, and instead they get a platform that feels like it's stepping back in time. And that first impression is extremely important, because if new users don't stay, the potential population growth is just gone. Even on powerful PCs, again, low frame rates, long loading times, texture pop-ins, and lags during crowded events are very common. Now, one of the biggest reasons why this happens is because every avatar can wear hundreds of scripted items, high-resolution textures, and custom meshes, all of which your computer has to download and render individually. Which leads us to another problem: the economy that time forgot. Now, this is going to be one of the biggest problems right here. Second Life runs on virtual land rent. Yes, monthly fees just to own space in a virtual world that is supposed to be a life simulator of sorts. Back in 2006, this made somewhat sense. When hosting online worlds, got pretty expensive. But today, it just does not work. In VR chat, you can build an entire world for free. This is a massive shift in expectations. Modern platforms say, basically, create freely. Second Life says, pay monthly to exist, wagey. And to many younger users, paying virtual rent feels, well, it's like you're getting cucked by both IRL rent and virtual rent at the same time now. It's an old internet business model competing in a new internet world. There's something deeply ironic about Second Life in that sense. It's a virtual world trying to simulate life, but most of the players cannot afford a fucking home, which is a very big part of a life simulator. And that creates a huge psychological barrier for new players. When someone joins a life simulation world, one of the first expectations is very simple. A personal space, a home, just a base to do your own thing in. In modern social media platforms, this is usually free. And in VR chat, for example, you can build, again, your entire house, an entire hangout space, or a world completely for free. No monthly payments, no land tiers, just create. Again, when you compare that to Second Life, you can immediately see the problem. Combine everything that I just said, and you can start to see why me, alongside many other players, are starting to worry about the future of Second Life. Linden Lab no longer regularly publishes official active player counts, and the majority of worlds that are available are empty ghost towns. Only a handful of worlds actually have a healthy level of population in them. And in many worlds that I have been to over the years, I have seen many virtual funerals for players that have passed away IRL, because the game's population is, again, literally dying of old age. So, I'm going back to the question. Can Second Life survive another decade? I don't know. Again, it won't disappear overnight. That's impossible, but I don't think it's gonna make it out either. But yeah, that's about it for today. I just kinda wanted to talk about Second Life. Now, although I myself am permanently migrating over to VR chat from Second Life, I do still have a soft spot for the game, and I still appreciate Second Life, it's a good game, but honestly, I just don't think it's gonna survive for very long. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I will see you again later, some other time. Goodbye.